Call the member for Upper Hunter.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. My question is directed to the Minister for Industry, Resources and Energy. How are illegal activities at mining and petroleum sites impacting business operations and productivity, as well as putting the safety of workers and their families at risk?
If you call the Minister for Industry, Resources and Energy, and the House will come to order. Yeah, I've already looked for that.
Madam Speaker, I thank the honourable member for his question and his interest and his passionate interest indeed in protecting the lives and safety of workers. Madam Speaker, the New South Wales Government respects the rights of its citizens to undertake peaceful and lawful protests. The Government also respects the rights of businesses to conduct their lawful operations without disruption. Resource projects are founded on three key pillars: mutual respect, mutual understanding and mutual benefit.
Order.
Madam Speaker, as we all know, coexistence works, but we need to work together.
Blacktown will come to order.
We need to respect one another and have a sincere discussion on merit. Madam Speaker, the mining industry employs over 20,000 direct employees and more than 100,000 indirect employees. Royalties from resource projects help fund our schools, our roads and indeed our hospitals. Madam Speaker, unlawful and dangerous activities put the safety of protesters as well as workers at risk and are costly for businesses and for the public. Madam Speaker, communities also suffer with the deployment of police resources to deal with unlawful protest activities, reducing the capacity to respond to critical incidents, particularly in rural and remote communities. Let's look at some of the examples where illegal protesters have threatened safety. Madam Speaker, protesters at mining and petroleum workplaces have been charged with offences relating to trespassing.
Order. Too much noise in the chamber on the government benches on my right.
And endangering themselves and others. Just last evening, Madam Speaker, a number of coal seam gas wells at Narrabri were tampered with. This is a very serious incident, and I advise the damage done potentially put the health and safety of workers at risk and could have put the integrity of the well at risk. The damage also could have caused extreme damage to the surrounding environment. Madam Speaker, extreme activists have even felled trees, the very trees that they say they're seeking to protect. This means that protesters who claim to be putting the environment first are indeed putting it in harm's way themselves. Fortunately, I can inform the House that the Narrabri operations are designed to be fail-safe and automatically shut down in case of fire, theft or damage. Tampering with equipment poses a real risk to both the environment and those persons who entered the facility. This is just one more recent example. Since 2013, Santos's Narrabri operations alone have been subject to over 800 instances of unlawful entry or obstruction. Companies have reported that they've been subject to vandalism and property damage, such as security fences and locks being cut, equipment including security cameras being stolen, access roads being blocked, thereby restricting emergency access, and equipment, plant and vehicles being damaged or graffitied, including in public places. On a similar type of issue, it gives me no pleasure to draw the attention of the House to an incident that occurred in September 2014 at the Whitehaven mine at Maules Creek, where trespassers entered the site during the night and cut 187 downlines attached to extremely powerful explosives. Madam Speaker, it's not just mining CSG sites that the protesters have in their sites, it's the workers and their families as well that are being threatened. I'm advised that examples include verbal threats of violence at work sites, totally unacceptable. Threats to staff involving firearms through private messages on social media, totally unacceptable. Nuisance calls between the hours of 10 p.m. and 5 a.m. from activists, totally unacceptable. Offensive calls to company officers, totally unacceptable. Offensive emails from industry opponents to staff, intimidation of staff wearing company clothing in public places, as well as contractors and workers being followed from work locations to their homes by extreme activists. Madam Speaker, we all agree that people should have safe workplaces in which they can go to work and come home, have the best opportunity to come home. As Minister for Resources, I received the telephone calls early in the morning where there is a fatal incident at a mine site or a serious injury. Some of the most difficult telephone calls I've ever made are to the CFMEU members who work so hard to look after their members, to express this government's certainly condolence towards those people who have given their lives in their workplaces.
Member for Upper Hunter.
I'd like an extension, please.
Extension of 2 minutes is granted. Thank you.
So, Madam Speaker, I'm sure that no member in this House endorses behaviour, again, where workers, employees, contractors and their families are subject to those threats and intimidation. And it gives me, and it is, a great moment when two sides in politics can come together. And indeed, I can make up for probably the only policy that they had that fell over, which was the Koala Park. But can I say we join with the Honourable Luke Foley, and I received this from the Minerals Council website, it's publicly available, where the Labor Party, prior to the last election, said, "We recognise that trespassing is dangerous and illegal. New South Wales residents will always have the right to protest legally, but Labor will never condone illegal activity or activity that could endanger lives. Labor will work with industry, police and environment groups on reforms to protect mine workers while respecting people's right to peacefully protest." So that's one off the list for you. There's one policy that we'll deliver on your behalf for the people of New South Wales. Madam Speaker, the government is committed to making sure there is an appropriate balance between the rights of industry and the rights of protesters. And this is why the government has announced it intends to introduce legislative amendments that will strengthen laws that target unlawful and dangerous activity without affecting the right to peacefully protest. Once again, you have two parties in the National Liberal Coalition that is supporting the safety of workers. We are supporting the workers of New South Wales. We welcome the support of those opposite. And again, this is about protecting those protesters as well as protecting our emergency service personnel together with those workers that spend every day contributing to this great economy.
Thank you. Time for questions has expired.